Hello everyone, welcome to Hangar Talks, a new series that focuses on everything aviation and all the trends and the developments that are taking place within the industry. I'm James Sanderson, and today we'll be focusing on the UAE's aviation sector and the tremendous strides that it has made over the last 90 years. And joining me today to discuss this topic are Ali Zahabi, Operations Manager for Engines at Amrock, and Hussam Habboush, who's Business Development Manager at EPI. Thank you both very much for joining us today. So I'll go straight into it. So the development and the evolution of aviation in this country, it's quite an amazing story.
Well, James, the history of aviation sector in the UAE started back in 1932 when the first aircraft from the Imperial Airways arrived at Al Mahatta Airport in Sharjah. Back then, Al Mahatta Airport in Sharjah was a strategic link between the West and East. It connected the cultures from East and West together.
The UAE is considered as a leading within the regions for the aviation industry and become a hub, a global hub actually, for the aerospace services. Our aviation sectors benefits from the global infrastructures and in-country MRO and manufacturing capabilities.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, that's always been an important part. The fact that the strategic location of the UAE has played an incredible part in the story, because I think, whereas before we had planes stopping here on their way to the Far East in Australia, now a lot of it overflies. It was very important to develop the capabilities here in the UAE. If I move on to the next topic, and really that's something that's affected almost everybody and every industry, and that is COVID-19 and the incredible challenges that were posed on the industry by it. So I think if I flash forward to 2019, 2020, how did the aviation industry look at the challenges faced, and how did they turn them into opportunities? Specifically here, when we see a lot of the things that took place during this time, how did we turn those challenges into opportunities?
So James, the word impossible is not in the Emirati dictionary. Our aviation sector knew that they cannot idly stand and wait. So they tackled all these challenges and used them as opportunities. With the country going with the support to the humanitarian efforts internationally, our aircrafts were supporting all of these efforts. And our aircrafts delivered medical and humanitarian aids to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean, on that point, I was astounded by the amount of destinations that were flown in that period when sort of all passenger planes and all passenger flights had stopped. There was suddenly sort of humanitarian flights going in every single direction to places I'd never even heard of. So it was, the agility and the speed in which they got to work was quite phenomenal.
I totally agree with both of you, Ali and James. And adding to that, more than 117 countries all over the world received humanitarian aid transferred by UAE aircrafts, while they're receiving those stuff to them from the Global Health Organization warehouses in Dubai.
It's an amazing story, actually, because it was also the civilian and military aviation sectors that collaborated on these transfers. It was an amazing story. Local champions in the field of engineering, manufacturing and MRO have rapidly upped their game in recent times to help support the development of the aviation sector here in the UAE. How have your companies adapted to support this growth?
James, Amrock, as a leading MRO service provider, has a state-of-art facility in Al Ain City. Our experiences in engines, components, and fixed-wing maintenance and MRO repairs allowed us to serve the UAE Air Force and other operators in the region. We can provide performance-based logistics support to our customers. In terms of cutting-edge capabilities, Amrock is the only authorized C-130 service provider by Lockheed Martin in the region. Additionally, Amrock has a strong partnership with international OEMs such as Lockheed Martin, GE, and BAE Systems These partnerships allowed Amroc to improve the turnaround time and save cost of maintenance. The synergy between the companies under the mission support cluster at Edge contributes to the aviation sector in the UAE.
Indeed, I do agree with you, Ali, with what you mentioned related to the collaborations. And we hope as well to continue that within near futures, within our entities within the semi-clusters, as well as with edge entities in other clusters. Coming back to your question, James, 2021 marks a decade since ABI delivered its first Class 1 components to Airbus and become the first company in the region has EN/AS 9100 certificate, which supported us a lot in order to maintain and achieve the aerospace requirements. ABI had become since then, and we considered ourselves as a partner for manufacturing for Airbus, Stelia, and other Tier 1 providers, producing high-quality engineered components, actually metallic components as well, into details for A320, A330, A340, and A380 aircrafts. In 2019, a new chemical plant has been established in API, and that plant has increased the manufacturing and the production's capability for API in order to move forward from only being a machining provider to be an assembly provider to our OEMs.
I mean, both companies, both Amroc and EPI, to me are incredible success stories. Where do you see the UAE's aviation sector going in the future? And what's your take on that? I'll start with you, Ali.
James, I believe the aviation sector in the UAE will continue to be one of the major contributors to the economy. I see big investments in Emiratization, empowering women to be part of the aviation workforce. I also see more focus on the sustainable energy and focus on research and development.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ali. Hussam.
I do believe that the aviation sector in UAE will continue acquiring the latest technology in the market, and that will support that industry in order to develop towards being more efficient and to be more competitive in the future. And this is how I do believe that this improvements and this development will be supporting as well, not only to enhance the current capabilities available in the country, but as well to increase the collaboration between all entities within different sectors even and different groups.
Ali, Hussam, thank you so much for joining us. It's been really informative and very enlightening, especially for me. So thanks for that, and I hope I see you very soon again. This has been Hangar Talks. Thank you very much for joining us, and see you next time.